In this video, I'll teach you how to solve equations with fractions. If you can't solve a regular equation yet, I recommend watching the video on solving equations first. Fractions in an exercise means that you first have to get rid of these fractions. It is important that you can already calculate with fractions. Especially the least common multiple, and making the denominators the same is important. Therefore, we repeat this before we start the comparisons. Suppose we want to find a common denominator for 1/8 and 5/6. Then we have to look for the least common multiple. To do this, we first write down all the multiples of both denominators. We write the multiples of 8, namely 0, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, and so on. We also note the multiples of 6. 0, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, and so on. We can now indicate the common multiples. These are the multiples that occur in both series. In these series, these are 0, 24 and 48. 0 is not eligible anyway. Of the other common multiples, we take the smallest, namely 24. So 24 is our smallest common multiple. Now we convert both fractions into equivalent fractions with a denominator of 24. We do this by multiplying numerator and denominator by the same number. 8 times 3 is 24, so 1 times 3 equals 3, we get 3/24. We do the same with 5/6. 6 times 4 equals 24, so 5 times 4 equals 20. We get 20/24. We can solve equations with fractions in two ways. For both methods, we have to determine the least common multiple. We start with the first method. We are going to solve the equation 1/2 x minus 2/3 x plus x equals 20. We start by looking for the least common multiple of the denominators. So we note the multiples of 2 and 3. This gives for 2, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on. For 3, this gives 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and so on. The smallest number different from 0 that occurs in both series is 6. 6 is therefore our least common multiple. We are now going to multiply every term from every side in our equation with this least common multiple. We start by multiplying 1/2 x with 6. If we multiply a number with a fraction, then we multiply this number with the numerator and divide by the denominator. 1 times 6 is 6 and dividing by 2 gives 3. So we get 3x. Now we multiply minus 2/3 x by 6. 6 times minus 2 is minus 12 and minus 12 divided by 3 is minus 4. So we get minus 4x. Now we multiply x by 6. 6 times x is 6x. And finally, we also multiply 20 by 6. 20 times 6 gives 120. So we get a new equation, namely 3x minus 4x plus 6x equals 120. As we learned in a previous video, we need to separate the x in left-hand side. All x's are already in the left-hand side. So we can add these together. 3x minus 4x plus 6x equals 5x. Now we have to get rid of the 5x by performing the reverse operation in the right-hand side. Then we get x equals 120, divided by 5. And that gives 24. X is therefore equal to 24. In the second method, we also work with the least common multiple. We are going to make all the numbers in the equation the same here. So we put everything at number 6. We start with 1/2 x. If we want to place it at number 6, then we have to multiply numerator and denominator by 3, we then get 3/6 x. We now do the same with minus 2/3 x. We have to multiply the numerator and denominator by 2, which gives minus 4/6 x. We also have to make the numbers without a denominator the same. Every integer is equal to a rational number with number 1. If we want to place it on denominator 6, we have to multiply the numerator and denominator by 6. This gives 6/6. Finally, we also put 20 on denominator 6. 20 is the same as 21st. Here too we multiply numerator and denominator by 6, then we obtain 126. So our new comparison is 3/6 x minus 4/6 x plus 6/6 x equals 126. Now we can multiply both members by the least common multiple. In practice, it means that we overwrite our comparison, but without the denominators. We add everything in the left member, which gives 5x equals 120, we move the 5, which gives x equals 120 divided by 5. 120 divided by 5 is 24. X is therefore equal to 24. Let's repeat. Get rid of the denominators by multiplying each term in the left and right-hand side by the least common multiple of the denominators. In one paragraph, write down the terms with the factor x and in the other member the terms without a factor x by performing the same operation in both sides. Write the terms in both sides. Move the coefficient for the unknown to the right-hand side by performing the reverse operation. Do the math, check the solution. Now try to solve these exercises. When going over the exercises, I will use the first method for the first exercise and the second method for the second exercise. You will have 10 seconds to try these exercises. If you don't have enough time, pause this video. Okay, I hope it worked. I start with 1/4 minus 3/5 x equals 2/5 minus 1/2 x. We start by looking for the least common multiple of the denominators. Since we have 3 different denominators, we look for the least common multiple of all 3 denominators. I note the multiples of 4, namely 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, and so on. I also note the multiples of 5, namely 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and so on. Finally, I also note the multiples of 2, namely 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and so on. In this series we see that we only have the 0 and the 20 in common. So 20 is the least common multiple. Now I multiply 20 by all the terms from the exercise. 20 times 1 is 20, divided by 4 is 5. 20 times minus 3x is minus 60x, divided by 5 gives 12x. 20 times 2 is 40, divided by 5 gives 8. And 20 times minus 1x is minus 20x, divided by 2, gives minus 10x. Now we do the math. All terms with an x are placed in the left-hand side, all terms without an x are placed in the right-hand side. Minus 12x and 8 just remain, we move 5, so that becomes minus 5, and also minus 10x we move, that becomes plus 10x. We calculate the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Minus 12x plus 10x equals minus 2x. And 8 minus 5 equals 3. Now we move the coefficient for the x to the right-hand side. Then we get x is equal to 3 divided by minus 2. And if we calculate this, we get minus 1.5 or minus 3 seconds. We check our exercise. We copy the left and right-hand side separately. We replace the unknown with our answer. We first calculate the multiplications. To multiply fractions with each other, we multiply the numerators by each other and the denominators by each other. Minus 3/5 times minus 3 seconds gives 9/10. We make the same name on denominator 20. Then we get 5/20 plus 18/20 and that gives 23/20. We also start multiplication in the right-hand side. Minus 1 second times minus 3 seconds gives 3/4. We make the same name at number 20, then we get 8/20 plus 15/20, and that also gives 23/20. Our left-hand side is the same as our right-hand side, so the check is successful. Now I move on to the second exercise. We start again by looking for the least common multiple of the denominators. I note the multiples of 4, namely 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and so on. And I write down the multiples of 3, namely 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and so on. In these series, we see that we have the 0 and the 12 in common. 12 is therefore the least common multiple. Now we make all the terms from the exercise the same name with denominator 12. At 1/4 I multiply the numerator and denominator by 3, which gives 3/12. At 3x I multiply the numerator and denominator by 12, which gives 36/12. At 1/3 x I multiply the numerator and denominator by 4, which gives 4/12. At -5/4 I multiply the numerator and denominator by 3, which gives -15/12. I multiply the left-hand side and the right-hand side by the least common multiple, so that I may omit my denominators. Now we do the math. All terms with an x are placed in the left-hand side, all terms without x are placed in the right-hand side. 36x and -15 will remain, 3 we will move, so that will be -3, and we will also move 4x, which will be -4x. We calculate the left-hand side and the right-hand side. 36x minus 4x equals 32x and -15 minus 3 equals -18. Now we place the coefficient for the x to the right-hand side, then we get -18 divided by 32. If we calculate this, we get -0.5625 or -9/16. We check our exercise. We copy the left and right-hand side separately. We replace the unknown with our answer. We first calculate the multiplication. 3 times -9/16 gives -27/16. We make the same name at number 16. Then we get 4/16 minus 27/16. And that gives -23/16. We also start multiplication in the right-hand side. 1/3 time -9/16 gives -3/16. We make the same name on denominator 16, then we get -3/16, -20/16, and that also gives -23/16. Our left-hand side is the same as our right-hand side, so the check is successful.